Hello everybody, today we find ourselves in a tier 10 match, T62A on Severogorsk. At the point I played this match, XVM wasn't working, the server had actually been down for about 2 days, so I couldn't see my own team stats, or the enemy stats, but I knew they had Barks on their team, and Barks is actually one of the best players on the server. So, making the usually safe assumption my own team was a bunch of shitters, I did not fancy my chances of surviving this match. However, it actually turns out that I did have some pretty decent players on my team. I begin by heading west, as I often do in mediums. Once again, you can see the rubber banding effect that Wargaming managed to introduce with 9.4 into replays. And you can also see how it completely vanishes the moment I go into the free camera. Go back into fixed camera and yep, the tank's still doing it. I roll around these rocks just to try and get quick shots on whatever comes around the corner first. But nothing actually comes around the corner, and I don't like it when that happens because it makes me begin to worry that the enemy are doing something other than what I expect. However, a Pershing does show his face and gets promptly tracked on the corner by the Patton, and then of course being a T62 I'm able to get in 2 shots before he can get away. He appears to be retracked. My attempt at a side scrape shot there failed badly because I reversed over a bump in the terrain and my gun depression was no longer good enough to hit him, but the M48 cleans him up. Decent arty hit there on the enemy E100. Looking for a shot here, wait for him to turn his turret to face the guys in front of him and then take it. Unfortunately, I was pushed out just a little bit too far to get the shot on that Roomba, and so the JT was able to put a shell through me. They have bigger problems now, as a E3 just drives straight into them. So while the Roomba's distracted, I managed to put another shot in. Unfortunately, he gets away, but not for long. Not a very well aimed shot there on my part. I didn't want to charge around the corner yet while these guys are both looking, so I wait for the E100 to get distracted again, take a quick shot, finish him off, and then the JT's not even looking, he's still playing with those guys on the other side of the rocks. So I'm able to circle around the back of him. I take a hit from the IS-8, but I put one back into him, and now I do something very careless here. I drive out right in front of Barks' gun. Of course, he's pre-aimed on the corner. Sorry about Steam again. By the time I managed to get out from under the IS-8's gun, Barks has moved. I hold still for a moment just in case he peeks around again. I don't want to get killed this early. But it looks like he's gone for good. And so rather than pushing straight towards him, which I know is a stupid idea because he will actually be paying attention to his line of retreat, I work my way back towards the center of the map and try and find another way through. Now, I did actually go back and after about 10 or 15 minutes of looking, I was able to find Barks' stream recording for the day this match was played, and by just skipping through about 15 minutes at a time, I was able to find this match. So I watched it from his perspective. Now, there are a couple of interesting points to note here. First of all, my team are actually suiciding their tanks one at a time into him, which allows him to really keep the scores more or less even, despite his team pretty much losing map control. The other interesting thing is his team spent most of the game unable to see me. And so I'd wondered why he hadn't been prepared for me when I began engaging him later in the match. It's because he didn't know I was there. Or at least he didn't know when I was popping out to take shots. So the enemy Waffle drives up, exposes himself completely, but before I'm able to get shots, somebody else puts a hit in. My own shot misses, and he dives back into cover. Now, if I recall correctly, that Waffle ended up doing pretty much nothing all game. In fact, I don't even know if he got any damage this match. A good demonstration of how not to play that tank. So I'm carefully winding my way back through the center of the map. I don't really want Barks to be able to see me, if at all possible, because if he sees me, he will shoot at me, unlike his puppy teammates. Now, as I said, XVM wasn't working when I played this match, so I didn't really have any trust in my team's puppies to carry this. As it happens, our Patton and Waffenträger were not too bad, and the T-49 also had at least some idea what he was doing. Just waiting here for these tank destroyers to get cleaned out. There's no point charging headlong into the E4. Our Pershing goes down to the enemy bat Chadardi, but the E4 gets cleaned up by our Waffenträger Panzer IV, which allows me to push in through the west side. Now, the other reason I didn't want to charge at Barks earlier is because he's still being covered by a T-32 and a 50B. The 50B is the important bit. He has an autoloader watching over his back. I have 343 hit points. Any of those three tanks could comfortably one-shot me. And so instead of driving straight into his face, I wanted to come in from the north along the west flank, roll up behind the 50B, deal with that first, and then deal with Barks. As it happens, the 50B actually was in a situation where it was more difficult for me to deal with, so I ended up taking Barks first. And so here we go. I have a clear shot, I take a snapshot. I can't remember if that one hit or not. I guess we'll find out in a moment. I was lit in the process of firing that shot, but I quickly get unspotted because Barks drove behind that house to try and screen himself from my shots. Now, while it did work, at least until I started shooting his cover down, the problem with doing that is it completely denies him the ability to see when I'm popped out and ready to shoot. And so here, he didn't see me until I fired my gun. And so I'd already got my shot into him before he was able to respond. And as he swivels around to try and get cover from myself and the KV-4 at the same time, just the tiniest portion of the back end of his tank hangs out, and I'm able to take advantage of it. It was a well-played game on his part, especially when I went back and watched his stream of the match. He'd really been working to try and even the odds, but just not enough support from his team, I guess. 50B goes down to our KV-4 while taking out the KV-4 at the same time, actually, so that's an award for both of them, eye for an eye. It was a very carelessly played match by me, especially at the start. I threw away way too many hit points doing stupid things, but towards the end of the match I started playing a lot more like I should have been, a lot more carefully, and it ended up paying off. About 4k damage. Barks ended up getting, I think, 5 point something k. You'll be able to see it in the post game, so it was a pretty good game for him, and well, it sucks that he lost it, but you can't win them all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. As ever, I wish you the best of luck in the field, and I'll see you next time.